Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this fifth Asia Pacific Food Policy Training. I'm Filippo Gavazzeni, head of the Milan Pact Secretariat. We are starting in 1 minute. If in the meantime you can mute yourself, please. And also, please be reminded that interpretation into Vietnamese is provided. So please choose
in Thai. This time.
In Thai. Sorry, is provided. So please choose your language channel on the tool of Zoom. I will start telling you about the issue of this fifth webinar that is dedicated to the fifth category of the Milan Pact, that is food supply and distribution. This is the, as you probably know, this is the training that the Milan Pact and the IURC program have been doing together since January, so it's quite 1 year. Today, the focus will be on a variety of action and measures that cities are taking. We will have great examples today to ensure sustainable, fair, and efficient supply of food in our cities. Before giving the floor to Pablo Gandara for the introduction, I would like just to remind the program of today. So we will have the introduction, and after that we will have a focus on the recommended action under this category, the monitoring framework to assess the implementation of the recommended action, and then we will have 2 case studies from Europe, then that are Barcelona and Lyon. Then we will have a presentation on the activities under this category from Milan, and then we will move to Asia Pacific, knowing more about the action undertaken by the city of Sukabumi and the city of Yeosu. I will leave now the floor to Pablo Gandara for the introduction, who is the team leader of the IURC program for Asia Pacific. Thank you, Pablo.
Thank you very much, Filippo. Good afternoon to everyone. Morning to those in Europe. Welcome again to the fifth webinar that we're jointly organizing with the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact. I'm pleased to see especially our colleagues and friends from the pilot cities who are well represented here today, and the speakers who are joining us from different countries, from Indonesia, as I can see over here, from Thailand, from Vietnam, just to mention a few. I see over there our colleagues from my municipality, which I'm working very close with, and so welcome to today's session. I will be very brief today. I just want to mention that urban food is indeed one of the key issues of the IURC, and for that I wanted to show you just 2-3 slides that may help you a little bit to understand why we're dealing with that. As you know, the IURC, the International Urban and Regional Cooperation Program, is funded by the European Union, and it's a program to support city-to-city exchange, both online and also on-site. Of course, we are, as you can see over there, the program is present in all in the Americas, in Asia, and in Europe. It's working with both cities and regions, and we are focusing on different topics, one of which is the topic of, let's say, urban food systems, sustainable agriculture, and a wider sense, so to say, also when we're talking especially about regions and so on. So I just wanted to encourage you to also visit our website and maybe have a look at the other topics if you're interested. We are having in total, of course, globally, about 60 or 70 partnerships between EU and non-EU cities. and it's quite interesting to see a little bit what is at stake on the different topics. And if you really want to have a look with regard to what we're doing on food policy, you can just search in our website over there at iurc.eu. And you can see, for example, here some events that either the colleagues from China are organizing, for example, over here, or that colleagues here from Milan Urban Food Policy Pact are organizing. So you can always have a look at the events we're having. And also, just a reminder, last week we had also cooperation with New Zealand. I think today we have also online some colleagues from New Zealand joining. And last week we had, or last and this week, we had a little delegation from Christchurch to visit Spain, and they have been working with, in this case, with Vitoria State in the Basque Country about organic farming, sustainable food production, and so on. So that's it basically from my side. The idea of these webinars is to try to, of course, share knowledge and also identify areas for cooperation. So both the colleagues from the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact Secretariat, as well as me and my colleagues, we are ready to help you in case you identify interesting ideas and you want us to help you to implement them today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pablo. I will now share the screen. Okay, thank you. Yes, I think you can see it. So as I mentioned, for those who arrived a little bit late, this training is on food supply and distribution. Could you, everyone, put your mic on mute, please? Okay. So just a brief recap. So this is our network. We have 250 signatory cities distributed in the 6 Milan Pact region. We can count on the member of the steering committee to, let's say, reach the goal and objective of the Milan Pact. And as you know from Asia Pacific, your representatives are the city of Bandung and the city of Seoul. We have celebrated global fora and regional fora. The last global fora took place, I would say, 3 weeks ago in the beautiful city of Rio de Janeiro. And at the end of this session, we will show a 1-minute video to give you some vibes for those who have not been able to attend. And lastly, we have celebrated last August in Bandung, hosted by Unpar University, the first regional forum for Asia Pacific, with a great collaboration again with the European Commission and the IURC program. So this is what we did together. So you can see that we start with governance in April, and we go through all the categories of the Milan Pact. The last one will be food waste, and we will let you know the exact date, but it will take place in December. So these are the tools that we will present you today, and we invite you to apply. So we have the 37 recommended action of the Milan Pact. Every city, every mayor can choose one or more recommended action and share in the text of the pact, depending on the political priority, depending on the local context, and then can also measure the impact through the 44 recommended the 44 indicators that the Milan Pact together with FAO and RUAF have developed to support your food policies. Finally, we can count on a huge library of good food practices. We have 620 practices, thanks also to the last edition of the Milan Pact Awards. That the ceremony of the awards took place in Rio de Janeiro. and Serena will tell you something about that. We have also some winners and special mention from Asia Pacific. Moving ahead with food supply and distribution. So here you have the first out of 7 recommended action on food supply and distribution. The idea is to strengthen the control of the food system by municipalities. So basically, it's the logistic of food from outside the city and within the city. That means, for example, creating rural-urban linkages and green public procurement, shortening the supply chain, reorganize more efficiently the wholesale market or the street market, for example. So let's have a look to the 7 recommended action. You can see in the slide that, first of all, it's the recommendation is to assess the flows of food through the city in order to make sure that all the neighborhoods of the city have access to fresh food, for example, and to avoid food deserts. Then we have an improved capacity of food storage, processing, and transport. Also thanks to new technologies and infrastructure. Then we have, as I mentioned, the control of the food system by implementing local food safety legislation and regulation. And then reviewing your public procurement and the trade policy in order to make it more greener and more connected with the peri-urban facilities. Moving ahead, we have to provide policy and programs to support public markets, including also, which is an important asset, farmer markets. Then we have improving and expand the support for the infrastructure, so the connection among urban buyer and peri-urban and rural sellers. And finally, which is also important, acknowledge the informal sector contribution to the urban food system. Together with these 7 recommended action, we also have the set of indicators. You can download all the guide through the QR code that you can see in the slide. In general, the guidelines contains a huge amount of information useful for cities. So the meaning, the rationale for selecting the indicators, how it's constructed, the explanation of the types of data that you required, how you can collect the data, and some examples. Also, it's important to mention that the guidelines create the connection to the SDGs and the relevant target to the SDGs. So this is also useful if you are implementing your 2030 strategy with your wider, let's say, urban policies. Let's have a look to the indicators that you can see in the slide. We can read it together, but it's basically there are 7 indicators that are connected to the recommended action that I mentioned before. But you can download this in the QR code. We go from the assessment of GHG emission in the different supply chain to the presence of food safety legislation, the proportion. You can measure also the proportion of food procurement expenditure by public institution and many other indicators. So now I would like to give the floor to Serena Duraccio, who is officer of the Milan Pact, and she will give you some useful information about the good practices on food supply and distribution coming from our signatory cities. Thank you so much, Serena.
Thank you, Filippo, for the overview. So as Filippo mentioned, the Milan Pact Awards are our most powerful tool for knowledge exchange among our cities. So here you can find a brief overview of the different winning cities and a special mention from the previous years. I think you are quite familiar with this one. If we can go to the next slide, instead you will see you will see the special mention and the winning cities of this edition of the Milan Pact Awards that we just announced during the Global Forum in Rio de Janeiro. And as you can see, we are particularly proud to have 3 cities from Asia Pacific, so Melbourne, Bandung, and Yosu, who have been awarded as the most innovative in their categories. And then I will just go briefly through the best practices that we collected in this category over the years. So you can see that we have a special mention and winning cities going from Toronto to Montpellier, from Baltimore to Lyon. So these are the special mention that we collected in this category. We have 86 good practices in food supply and distribution, and these are just some of the best ones, the most innovative ones. Okay, then I will, as usual, briefly talk about 2 best studies from Europe. So first of all, Barcelona, which is one of the special mention of this year's edition. So within the project Barcelona Feeds Proximity, which has the aim of guaranteeing sustainable food in the city at an affordable price, but at the same time has the aim of make producer earn a fair price for their products. Barcelona so developed this program in their 39 municipal markets, trying to tackling at the same time the food production and the food distribution aspect. So these municipal markets have become a reference point for citizens for sustainable and quality food. So incentives have been provided from the city council, so training money to push the selling of sustainable produce. The market stall have been identified thanks to 3 criteria, which are proximity, organic, and farm to fork food. So out of the 39 municipal markets, 100 market stalls in the city are selling fruits, vegetables, and fish or meat. And out of these 1,600 have been classified as green stores. So basically, these are stores that to a greater or lesser extent provide organic and farm to fork products and are supported by the city council. So this helps to make obviously easier for citizens to provide for fresh organic food, but at the same time increase awareness among traders of the importance of offering these kind of products to their buyers. So as you can see, this project perfectly complies with the indicator 36. Then we can go to the next one, which is from the city of Lyon, which is another special mention of this year's Milan Pact Awards. So both the city and the metropolitan city have been working to develop an ambitious joint policy aimed at improving food resilience and food justice in the area. with the aim, of course, of promoting the development of sustainable local supply chain and to relocate the citizens' diet in order to strengthen the food autonomy of the area. So they are working on 3 levels. So the first one is the public procurement. So they have set a target of 100% organic products and 50% local products within their school canteens, addressing 44,000 school children. The second pillar is the organization of events which are aimed directly to professionals in order to bring together local buyers and sellers and make them aware of ways to shorten their supply chain. And then as the last one, they have also developed a collaborative map to inform citizens where they can find local supply. So we can see here the creation of a development plan specifically built to address the food supply of the city. So indicator 35. As usual, if you are interested in getting to know more about these practices, we would be more than happy to put you in contact with the relevant contacts. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Serena. It is worth mentioning that during this edition, the 2022 edition of the Milan Pact Awards, we have collected more than 250 practices that are available for you all. So as Serena mentioned, please reach us out if you want to know more about this or other practices. I will also take the opportunity to thanks from one side the IURC, because they took part in the evaluation of the practices, and also the Italian agency of cooperation AIX that is also here connected with us. So thank you so much for your effort. Before giving the floor to the case of Milan with Elisa Porreca, I would like to ask you if you can switch on your cameras and to take a family picture. So we are collecting all this picture, and you will be all in the final report of the Asia Pacific Food Policy Training. So please switch on your cameras for 1 minute. And we will shoot a picture. Thank you. So
I'll wait for a few seconds. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Next page. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, you. So let's move now without further ado to the presentation of the case study from Milan. Food infrastructure as the main driver for food system transformation, by Elisa Porreca, who is the food policy officer of the city of Milan. Please, Elisa.
Thank you, Filippo. I hope you hear me well. Just nod in that case. Perfect. Okay. Thank you again for ensuring our possibility to present a bit our cases, and in particular today connected to the category of the pact about food supply and distribution. And indeed, the idea is today to have a very brief overview of the food infrastructures that are ensuring a better approach to food logistics in Milan. So, as at this point, many of you might already know and have visualized this framework, this ideal field of action that is the Milan food system, it is important for today to have a more grounded perspective, because of course we see the food system as this multilateral circular field in which the food policy is taking place and many initiatives are taking place at the same. And of course, this approach allowed us to collect so many data on the food system over the years. The ones that you see at the moment are the data coming from the initial mapping of the food system that was crucial to really understand and try to shape what kind of actions the food system needed on the different areas, and also connected to the supply chains and the logistics. What we also did in 2019, in addition to keeping an updated assessment of the food system, was also assessing the municipal budget. Since when speaking about infrastructures and key places in the municipality, it was also important to understand how the budget was addressing, for example, transportation or education, or even the environmental services in the city. And this was possible to our team in collaboration, of course, with the budget department, and enabled a better comprehension of the budget also under the light of the Sustainable Development Goals. And this all understanding led us to this overview of the food infrastructures that we have in our city and that we try to exploit to make the food system and healthy food more accessible every day to the people in Milan. So I would like to start from the rural assets that the city of Milan partially controls and partially is, let's say, among the actors that tries to help in place a solid governance. So the municipality of Milan owns several hectares in the city, within the city, but at the same time, the city of Milan and the metropolitan area are a large part of the territory, as you can see on the right, is part of an agricultural park that aims to ensure a better approach to the agricultural assets within all this metropolitan area. Another tool that is very important in terms of ensuring the health of the agricultural land are agricultural districts, and I will show you more in the next slide. And of course, a solid relationship with other big landowners in the area is crucial for the municipality to have an exchange and even to chase new opportunities for this field of action. In particular, and you see it a bit better in this map, we have 5 agricultural districts. Here you see 4, but one was born after the last years. The agricultural districts are associations of producers in the metropolitan area, but even we also have one Milan agricultural district that acts within the territory of the municipality. And all these producers that associated that aim to better work and to better connect their productions with the city, so with the place where the highest number of consumer is, are also part of the farmers market that we have in Milan. We have 13 official farmer markets on public owned space that are periodic, and they work over the month with several schedules. But we also have many more that are happening on private surface. So but in both cases, both in public and private spaces, the idea is to ensure there is a regulation, municipal regulation, to help this happen. Shifting to another key infrastructure in the city, we have to speak about the Milan wholesale market. So the wholesale market is the, as they always say from the foodie Sojemi market, it is the biggest supermarket in the city, but of course it's not a supermarket, even if on one day it is open to the public, but it is of course a B2B platform that manages millions of tons of food per year, and where the city, the food policy has partnered with a few charities that are active in the market to ensure that within this huge infrastructure that is allowing fresh food, so fruit and vegetables, and also meat and fish to get into the city, to be accessible for the retailers, the restaurants, the resellers. But we are working to ensure that also food losses are avoided in this place, because of course when huge amounts of fresh food are concentrated in just one spot in the city, we have to always target this place as a possible food waste generator. And in this case, we are able to recover 1.5 tons per year only in this spot in the city, helping so to make healthy food and fresh food available also to vulnerable families in the city, thanks to this activity with charities. Another key infrastructure for the city, and also because this is public owned, is our school canteen system, of which we spoke already a few times, but it's worth reminding that the system that you can see in the map is very well spread. So schools are all around the city, and many schools are of a smaller scale, but we have some schools that are have over 500 kids eating every day in just one spot. We have 24 kitchen centers that are ensuring and cooking the food that is going around these 600 spots on the map. And it is important to mention that when addressing an issue that is related to school canteens, the effect that we generate, since we produce 7 million meals per year, the effect is really affecting the whole food system in Milan. And one example is mostly related to the procurement rather than the direct logistic. But in the end, it is a chain effect. So we were able to monitor the reduction of GHG equivalent emissions while cutting the purchase of meat, of red meat, in our school canteen system. So you can see that we have a drop in terms of emissions and CO2 equivalent. And this was possible because we exploited this big infrastructure that is cooking every day through the year for 85,000 meals. And a slight change that was even very slightly perceived from people transition towards better and healthier diet, but also, and most importantly, a better rate of emissions from the whole system of the school canteens. So we started from the physical infrastructures, but then the effect has many co-benefits. And I will go very fast because I know that I have not so much time left. Another perspective from which we look at the city and at our infrastructures is the food aid distribution. So of course, if it's coming from the wholesale market or if it's coming from any other supply chain. So it could be donation, it could be even food that is purchased. We have this well-spread network of places in the city that is distributing food aid to vulnerable families of Milan. And you can see that we even have 3 spots that are logistics hubs that are ensuring greatly the distribution among all these many associations and places around the city active and that have the direct contact with the vulnerable families. And it is very important for us to see when we map this infrastructure to see that no area of the city is uncovered by this infrastructure. And connected to the food aid distribution, there is of course the collection and distribution to strengthen a bit the focus on food losses. So here we can see also again this spreading around the city. And just to remind you a bit of what these food waste hubs are, the city of Milan partnered with a local university, a union, and a local foundation to understand how to exploit the food losses happening in the city, mainly from supermarkets in this case, and how to avoid to basically throw away good food that was available for citizens, but at the same time, how to do it at a very small scale. So avoiding the food waste to going all around the city, but making sure that this could be collected and redistributed within the, let's say, the neighborhood area or the district area of the city. So that's why you see on the map that the different hubs are spreading in the different districts of the city. Our aim is maybe to have one for each district, wider district of the city. And another interesting side of this initiative, of course, is that in many cases, the place, the physical hub is public owned. So they were spaces that were unused. The municipality is the owner, and the idea was to connect many partners to ensure the activity. But of course, the municipality exploited these underused spaces to help the actors in the city to work on this. I would stop here, but I'm really available for any more request or question in the chat. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Elisa. We will have the Q&A session at the end. So if you have some questions in the meantime, you can start writing them on the chat. So let's now move to the other side of the world. It's our great pleasure to have here connected Mrs. Susiana, who is the Secretary of Food Security, Agriculture and Fisheries Department of the city of Sukabumi, that will present a very interesting practice called One Roof, that is able also to merge the 4th category of the Milan Pact, which is food production, and the 5th one, which is food supply and distribution, as you now are aware. So, Bu Susiana, silakan.
Yes. Okay. Good day for all participants. Thank you for the opportunity for us to presenting our practice in maintaining food supply and distribution in Sukabumi City. Is one roof, one region, one off-taker is an acronym. Okay, this is next. This is general pictures of Sukabumi City. The area of Sukabumi City is 48 kilometers squares. Population approximately 350,000. The area of agricultural land in Sukabumi City is only approximately 28% of the city's area, which is 1.3 thousand hectares. Sukabumi's grain production is 21,000 tons per year, or equivalent with 11,000 tons of rice. Sukabumi is highly dependent on food supplies from other regions. Its food production is only able to meet approximately 32% of Sukabumi's food needs. Massive conservation of agricultural land threatens the sustainability of food supply in Sukabumi City. In the last 10 years, paddy fields have decreased by an average of 2.2% per year. Farmers as food producers are the aging generation. 60% of farmers in Sukabumi City are over 50 years old, while only 5% of young farmers under 30 years old. The low interest of the younger generation in the agriculture sector because agriculture sector is seen as less attractive and promising business sector. So this is the background we initiate One Roof. This is current condition in agriculture sector in Sukabumi. High production costs, farmer limited access to market, farmer limited access to capital, low productivity due to limited use of technology. So there is a gap between this condition causing while we expected condition. Low of production costs, market availability, capital availability, use of technology to improve productivity. This gap is low of farmers' welfare. So we initiate One Roof to overcome this problem in 2020. In expected to 1. Increase of farmer income. 2. Increase of independent sustainable food land in Sukabumi City. What is One Roof? One Roof is an acronym from One Region, One Off-Taker. One Roof is government policy to maintain food supply through improving farmer welfare. One Roof is collaboration of 3 pillars. They are municipality, private off-taker, farmer, or landowners. In One Roof, we appointed off-taker for certain area. It can be district, sub-district, or village, based on capability of the off-taker. Farmers and off-taker make a partnership agreement in production of paddy. The off-taker will help farmers in terms of giving capital loan and buy the farmer's grains. The farmer have obligation to sell the grain to off-taker. One Roof farmers are pursued to register their land as sustainable food land. We call it LP2B. So this is the implementation of One Roof. We start with a socialization program for off-taker and farmer. Signing agreement between farmers and off-taker. Capital loan and production facilities aids, and then the grain harvested bought by off-taker. This is documentation of what we do in One Roof. Seed and fertilizer aid. Capital loan from off-taker. Market facilitation by off-taker. Beneficiaries. The benefit for farmer and landowners. Financing financing facilitation for rice production activities, market guarantee for grain produce, reasonable price of grain from off-taker. For municipality, increasing of independent, sustainable food land area, guarantee of food availability. For off-taker, continuity, guarantee of agriculture product, get priority in municipality food programs. We start the program with 1 off-taker and 10 farmers in 2020. Now we have 3 off-takers that cover 230 farmers. By this program, we could increase the income of farmers 94% for 8.2 million rupees per hectare to 60 million rupees per hectare. And the area of the sustainable food land increased 58% or 60 hectare in 2 years. Okay. So this is the contribution one roof for food supply in Sukabumi. Maintaining food supply is not only downstream. It's not only in downstream, but also must start in the upstream production. Increase welfare and income with motivate farmers and young people to work in the agriculture sector to ensure sustainable food production. Maintaining agriculture land through sustainable food lands, LP2B program. Agriculture land cannot be converted to non-agriculture land for 20 years. Is an effort to ensure the sustainable food production. To help off-taker distribute their product. Some of off-taker product is distributed by municipality through several municipality programs such as Mobile Cheap Food Market, GPM Link, and Food for Regional Food Reserve, CPPD. So this is one of program in food supply distribution. We collaborate one group with this program. One, Mobile Cheap Food Market. GPM Link. GPM Link is a collaborative action between municipality and private or business sector in providing quality and cheap food for the community, especially for poor households. Food sale in GPM Link is strategic staple food such as rice, eggs, palm oil, sugar, chicken, potato, and vegetables. Some product rice for GPM Link taken from the one roof of takers. Price of product in GPM Link is 10 to 20% cheaper than the market price. In 2021, we held GPM Link in 11 villages with 1.3 beneficiaries. 1.3 thousand beneficiaries, and in 2022 we allocated to 20 times GPM Link, 15 from municipality budget and 5 times from provincial budget, with 35.4 tons products sold and 6,000 people beneficiaries. This is what we do in GPM Link. We move from one village to the others to provide cheap food for the poor households. And the second program is regional food reserves. Regional food reserves for ensuring food availability for households affected by disasters or emergency condition, flood, landslide, fire, crop failure, and so on, and have potency for food insecurity. This is reserved for the household cooperation with off-taker for the procurement of rice for CPPD. 2021, we have 12.5 ton for regional food reserves and distributed for 10.5 tons. To 2022, we have regional food reserve 35.2 tons and have distributed 9 tons. This is what we do in program regional food reserves. Okay, maybe that we can share about the practice we do for maintaining food supply in Sukabumi. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Terima kasih Bu Susiana atas presentasinya yang menarik. Terima kasih. So thank you so much. Let's now move to the last presentation coming from the city of Yeosu, South Korea. This presentation is done by Mr. Seung-won Myung of the from the International Relations Department, and it's our pleasure to have him connected today, as Yeosu is the winning city with this practice to this edition of the Milan Pact Award. So congratulations again from all Asia Pacific for winning the award this year. Floyd, the floor is yours.
Yeah, greetings everyone. This is Floyd from Yeosu City, South Korea. I would like to share our city's response under the COVID-19 crisis. The name of the project conducted by our city is a strategy for securing our talents and small farmers. Under the framework for action, our project considers sustainable development goals with these 3 categories. As it is about eco-friendly food supply, farmers' living improvements, and the cooperation of several stakeholders in the city, this project will lead to good health and well-being, and decent work and economic growth, and sustainable cities and communities in the goal categories. For years, Yeosu City has been supporting our local talents by providing free lunch meal in the school within our district. We utilize the Yeosu School Meal Support Center, an organization operated under the cooperation of private and public sectors. The center was the main customer of small eco-friendly farmers. As your city have experienced also, the COVID-19 crushed our daily life, and it brought huge devastating effects on us. Regarding our decade-long project on our local talents, all the distribution for free lunch was disconnected. Parents had to feed the students in their homes, while small farmers had to stop supplying eco products eventually. So we realized that getting connected was meaningful in our life after we severely experienced the COVID-19 crisis. Before the COVID, students and parents were happy. Getting a free lunch meal was a kind of a blessing for them. And small farmers who do not have a self-sufficiency could maintain their daily income by supplying their crops to make a free lunch. As so, many people had experienced, COVID-19 took this great asset from us. So our city departments on agriculture started the brainstorming and had several meetings to make an action to respond to this crisis. First, we figured out the stakeholders of this issue. And these 4 organizations were the potential stakeholders to make our action to realize making students and farmers get connected again. And we set up this plan in March 2020. This flowchart explains how it worked. First, Yeosu City put budget to the meal center. and requested Jeollanam-do Office of Education to notify the students' information to the center. This information includes student's name, address, and phone number only. With the help of Jeollanam-do Yosu Office of Education, the meal center gathered students' information and started to ordering the products from our local small farmers. Gathering all the necessary items, the center made a food package and delivered them to each student. This was the first phase of our responding to the COVID crisis to secure our students and small farmers. These photos show the progress of our works. The upper left photo shows the meal center working for categorizing the crops and packaging, and lower left shows the items of the package, which were the crops that our small farmer supplied. And the lower right is the package inside, with the children comment and memos about the items inside. The upper right is the package delivered to students. As all the plans and strategies could have a side effect, we also experienced complaints from the parents who got these packages, either delivered to the wrong or previous addresses, and no option to choose the items for their own. Several complaints were issued. And even though we set up a way for the farmers to reconnect them to the system of supply and distribution chain, the first phase demonstrated a need to do one more consideration for the reconnection. And our strategy should have considered the sustainability, which should not just a temporary remedy to the farmers to overcome the COVID crisis. So again, we decided to utilize a local products online more, which was operated by Jeollanam-do provincial government for years. We asked Jeollanam-do government to support our small farmers to launch their shops in the online mall, so that the connection between the farmers and students could go online. This way, we could resolve the needs from the parents and keep our farmers to get connected permanently. This was the second phase of our project. In this phase, Yosu City gave a coupon of 25 euros to each and every student's account. Jeollanam-do provincial government provided the online space for our local farmers with technical support, as most of the farmers were aged and digitally illiterate. And School Meal Support Center conducted monitoring the quality of local products from the farmers. These are the artifacts of the second phase. The image on the left was a banner announcing our second phase project to be launched. And the image on the right was a report on the nighttime news of Korea Broadcasting Service. Although it was a small response to reconnect students and farmers at the start, our idea spread its wings to serving the students and their parents online was quite a lovely strategy. The farmers, as they started to have online space, could expand the customers to other buyers nationwide. In this project, total 39,188 students were the recipients of the food packages. Among them, about 29,000 received our second phase strategic system items, the coupon of 25 euros. Total 464 farmers participated in the first phase of our project, but only 125 farmers remained at the second stage. And they have a type of barrier to join the second phase due to the technology they should gain. The entire budget did not exceed the budget we put in the 2019. Total 2.5 million euros spent in the entire project of a project. As you may see, that all the participants and budgets were larger than those of the second phase. This was because the severity level of COVID infected had been reduced at the second phase. What we have learned by conducting this project as shown here, first, we did reinterpret our role on supply-demand chain and reallocated our budget to be more efficient. Then we found that a win-win could be done among students and farmers. These findings led us to think about reconstructing our role as the city administrators. Second, when we tried to find a way to help farmers, we acknowledged that our solution should be sustainable to them. Also, considering the situation we are facing and bringing more in-depth solution, We realize that applying sustainability to each and every work that we do for our citizens are critical to all the range of city administration. Additionally, when brainstorming among the departments for the solution to help both sides, we found that someone's problem could be others' solution. This was a cornerstone that led our project to the success on the reasonable budget. Thank you for listening about our system. So let's keep it forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
pleasure.
So this is the end of the presentation. So it's now time for Q&A. So if you have some questions, we will share the recording and the presentation to you all in a very few days, but you have the opportunity to make questions directly now to the speakers. So please go ahead, also using the chat. Okay, it seems that there are no questions for now. I will show you 1 minute video of the last global forum that took place in Rio de Janeiro, so you can catch some vibes for those who are not able to come. And if you have also 1 minute to think to other questions. I will share the screen now. Okay. Okay, so do you have any questions in the meantime? Otherwise, I can also give you a very final information on how to sign the pact. So if there are any cities that are
Yes.
Pak Indin, silakan.
Yeah, I not question, but I have some note for this meeting. We are pleased to again be a participant of the MUAPP and RURC Asia Pacific Food Policy Training Series, as our city's food needs are heavily reliant on supplies from outside the city of Bandung. The issue of food supply and distribution is very important to us. The information delivered by speaker serve as an inspiration for improving our food city governance. concerning to the supply and distribution topic, we feel that countries with large capital capabilities tend to dominate. Therefore, it is challenging to provide equal access to food for nation or towns with limited currency controls. We truly get the importance of food supply and distribution because it is not simple and frequently complicated. Involve a wide range of players and interests with regard to capitalism, monopolies, and oligarchy. Everyone may feel the disparity of even a stable supply of food. Nowadays, the issue of a global food crisis, which will occur in 2023, is also becoming more serious. Countries or regions that have food will tend to secure their own position to withhold food in their territory. This is a problem, especially in place or town where access to and availability of food are constrained by structural or cultural constraints. Therefore, it will be a good idea that MUFPP can reduce or even eliminate this gap by utilizing local food and boosting the capacity to offer municipal food stock. We expect that MUFPP can give cities, both MUFPP member and non-member, significant incentive to be able to develop their urban food production independently. Last but not least, we are happy that Sukabumi City, my friend Bu Susi, is taking part in this occasion because it allowed us to work more closely together to enhance Indonesian role in the Asia Pacific area and to improve the Asia Pacific region as a whole in collaboration with Seoul within the MUFPP framework. Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Terima kasih Pak Kinggin atas intervensi wawasan Anda. In fact, it's an important point. We are going through a food crisis. I think we are all aware of that. Pricing are soaring, and also the availability of fresh food is becoming complicated. So once again, it's important to map the food flows in the city, and we have to make sure also to have good reservoirs of food. So this webinar on food supply and distribution, we hope it has been in a way inspiring also for dealing with this issue, and at the same time we can pick the point raised by packing in to organize maybe a specific webinar on this thing early next year to support the exchange of knowledge and possible solution to the upcoming problems that we have to deal with. Are there any other questions? Emmanuel from Quezon City, please go ahead. Emmanuel, can you?
Yeah, sorry, I'm moving. So can everybody hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes. First of all, greetings from the city of Quezon City in the Philippines. Thank you to all the presenters, and it's nice to see you again, since we saw each other in Rio. The question that I have actually for all the cities is that, do all of you already have a food security plan, or at least a food food system strategy? And if yes, who were the agencies who helped you establish this, and how did you fund them, if you do have? Did my question come in clear?
Yes, it is. It is. So, so for the cities that have developed a food strategy, can you write in the chat if yes or no? And if yes, if the name of the agency that supported you in the development of the plan. You can use the chat, or so we can take note of what you said, or otherwise you can jump in the conversation. So I will repeat the question. So who have developed food strategy in their city? Someone? Maybe not yet. Okay, so Floyd is saying that Yosu has a center of agriculture technology with a strategy, I guess. So, well, of course, Milan has a strategy. And this strategy has been adopted by, okay, so Yosu is saying that there is a center of agricultural technology that that is dealing with the policy and distribution. In the meantime, I can say something about Milan with the food strategy that has been adopted with 5 pillars that Elisa mentioned you at the beginning, was adopted by the City Council after a widespread consultations. And also we see from the chat, Mr. Chuse Bramperai has formulated policy for urban farming with the establishment of a Green Education Center. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. So, Emmanuel, if you want, we can also find in the Milan Pact award submission some useful cases for you. So, for the city of Quezon. So, if you drop us an email with some more details of what you are interested to learn, we will be happy to review some of the practice that we have received.
Thank you, Filippo. We'll correspond with you. And just since I'll take the opportunity, Quezon City just had a gathering of its food security task force, which involves several departments. And I reported on the MUFPP membership. We're currently studying the MUFPP handbook, as well as the categories, the actions, and the indicators. And one of the outputs there is to request the MUFPP Secretariat to provide another capacity building. I think this is exactly what we need, what you're doing now, but in specific to guiding the city of Quezon. So we'll formalize that also through an email. Thank you very much for this capacity building and exchange.
Thank you, Manuel. Thank you. Thank you for participating and for being also in Rio. So, are there any other questions? Otherwise, we can say goodbye for now, because there will be the last. Sukabumi, Bususiana is saying that Sukabumi have a center of agriculture technology and education. So if you are interested, you can reach us out and we will put in contact with those cities that wrote in the chat. Thank you, Susiana. I was just saying that we will meet again for the last training on food waste prevention around mid-December. And thank you so much for attending. We will share all the materials in the next days. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Filippo.